Hello, welcome to Late Night Creations. My name is Kendra and I'm glad you're here. Today I have a video where I do a few thrift flips, and stay tuned to the end because I wasn't quite sure about that one, but it actually turned out kind of cute. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about the DIYs, and let's get started. Okay, the first thrift flip came from a garage sale. I had been to a garage sale out of state, actually. We went to a family reunion and we went to this garage sale with my sister-in-law, and I got almost all of these things, I think, at that garage sale. So I am just kind of measuring what's going to fit inside that little frame that I got for 50 cents. I mean, it's super cute like it is, but I'm going to make a Christmas DIY, a Christmas decor piece out of it. And I'm just going to make some triangles, two identical size triangles. And of course, I'm like trying to figure out how I'm going to do it exactly the same. But I take my rotary cutter. Okay, this little piece of cardboard is that cardboard that comes in the Dollar Tree calendars. If you don't have it, then just use any kind of cardboard, thin cardboard, thick cardboard, whatever you like. You could just use some heavy cardstock as well. So I'm just making two identical long triangles, and you can see how I measured them out. And then I picked two lovely pieces of scrapbook paper that I liked. I thought they coordinated well, but they weren't too matchy-matchy. This is going to be very rustic and very minimalistic and very easy to do with just very few what do you call them? Items, supplies. Okay, so then I cut out two little squares that we're going to use for our trunk. I'm just using regular old school glue stick, and I'm going to glue my paper on top. Now I'll take my little squeegee, and I like to do this when I use this glue stick because it smushes it, you like my vocabulary, smushes it down in there and smooths it out. I did that to both trees. And now I'm going to take this dark wax from DIY. Oh my goodness, thank you Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs, my sweet, sweet friend, for turning me on to DIY waxes. They are amazing. And I love this dark one because it looks like a stain. And you can wipe it off or leave it on. So I painted those little cardboard tree stumps. And then now I'm just brushing a little bit on this frame because it was a little bit golden and a little bit light. Okay, now to cover up that 5, I'm not going to paint it. I'm just going to put some paper on it. I have this burlap cardstock I got at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. It has paper on the back and burlap on the front, and you've probably seen me use it in DIYs before. Or you could just use any scrapbook paper of your choice. I was going between these two. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use that looked like wood grain or the burlap, and I chose the burlap. So also I decided when I cut it, if for some reason it doesn't go all the way to the edge, because oh boy, it's a struggle for me with measurements. But anyway, so I decided to take this furniture marker from Dollar Tree and just color around the edges so that if that didn't go all the way to the edge, no one would be the wiser except you all. Now I'm going to just put a little bit of hot glue on each corner. Well, I guess I'm going to make sure it fits first. Okay, good enough. I used my little Cricut tool to dig it out of there. I guess I didn't show you that I hot glued it. I just put four little dots of hot glue on each corner and hot glued it in there. And now I'm putting Mod Podge on the tops of all of those to seal it. Now I'm going to just put these little wood pieces, these little wooden, I call them wooden nickels. They're just little wooden circles. I don't even remember where I got them. Probably a big bag from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or somewhere like that. And I'm sure I didn't pay full price because I never pay full price for anything. Now you can see that and the reason that I glued that on there is I wanted it to be a little more dimensional. That's totally optional. I also took a little bit of that dark wax and did it just around the edges of this burlap. You can kind of see that it looks like a little bit of a shadow. You can totally see what I'm doing here. Just using those little wooden circles. I'm still calling them wooden nickels. I'm using those little wooden circles to elevate the tree part, and then I'm just sliding that little tree trunk up underneath there. Now I got out all the different kinds of twine that I had and decided on red, natural, and the tan, and it's not really white, it's more of an off-white or just a natural white. And then I'm just going to make a simple bow with a lot of little loops. I think you can see how to do that. And then I just hot glued it up in the corner. Easy peasy. You can hang it, or it's really thick and you can set it. Oh yeah, I had these little tiny stars I got off Amazon. I got like 300 or 400 or 500 of them. I can't even remember. They're all different sizes. I think this is I don't know if this is the biggest one or not, but anyway, this is a new technique I love too. Dry brush the wax on and then dry brush your color on top. So pretty. I glue that on top of the trees, and now it's done. You'll have to let me know what you think about this. I think it's just so simple, and I love it. Ta-da! Okay, next thrift flip. This was also at that garage sale for $1. Would you look at that? I loved this. It came from Hobby Lobby, and it was originally $17.99. And those stickers peeled off really easy, so I'm thinking she had it for a while. Now the back side had some really deep grooves in that wood, which made it have some really cool character. So I thought I would dry brush over it with some white and do something, and then I decided I was going to flip it over and use the smooth side. So I gave it 2 good coats of white chalk paint. This is by Rust-Oleum. It's linen white. Then I had this great idea. I was going to make a decal with my Cricut. I got this design out of Cricut Design Space, and it was really easy to cut, really easy to weed, and I'm putting it with my this is new FRISCO transfer tape, and I think it's the more sticky adhesive one. And I'm having buyer's regret on that. I think I didn't realize that's what I was buying. I thought I was buying the same thing I had purchased last time, and I could not get it to stick to this surface. I've never had a problem. I mean, occasionally you'll get some vinyl that won't stick really good, and you just have to work with it a little bit. This, you see that? It is not sticking at all. So, just ripped it all off, stuck it back on that sheet, and now I'm going to trace it. We're going old school, boys and girls. So I just traced around every single bit of it. It did not take that long, even though I've got this really sped up. I'm tracing on that, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to scribble, just like we did in elementary school. I'm going to scribble on the back of it, and then trace it onto that white, I don't know what you call that, cutting board or decorative piece. So I'm just scribbling all over where I have drawn those images. You can see it kind of came off on my other piece of paper too. And I'm going to take some painter's tape and tape it down so it doesn't move. And I'm going to just trace over it now. It's a little bit more work, but it is really pretty. So to keep up with what I've traced and what I haven't, I decided, okay, I'm going to do the little snowflake stars first. So I did all of them. I did all the little circles and the snowflakes. And I did those first. And then I did all these little leaves. And then I did all the little branches. And lastly, I did the word joy. So that way I could keep up with what I had written over and what I hadn't. I mean, you can kind of tell because it's darker, because you've gone over it twice now. But that's how I kept up with it. And look, it looks great. So now I'm going to take a paint pen. I got these off of Amazon, but you can get them at Walmart. And I'm just taking my black one. This is so easy, y'all. This is so easy. And so it's just like drawing. So just coloring it in. Now then I color in the word joy. I got my J a little skinnier than my Y in the end, but I did go back over it and make the J a little bit thicker. These pens, you do have to kind of pump the paint so it comes down. Now, doing the little awareness ribbon bow, where you just make the awareness ribbon, pinch it in the middle. I'm taking a little piece of the black and white baker's twine from Dollar Tree. Just going to wrap it around the middle a little bit tight, really tight, and you barely even see that. When you fluff the bow up, making sure both loops are the same height. So you can't even see that in the middle, but I wouldn't even care if you could, because it would be cute, because it's all black and white. The whole thing is black and white until I put the jute rope hanger on it. And this is wired, so it works really good to kind of put it where you want. Okay, dovetail the ends, use my fray check on this ribbon. I got this ribbon at, I want to say I got it at Michael's after Christmas 2 years ago. It was a big spool. I think I paid $7 for this big old huge spool I've been using for 2 years. I still have tons of it left. So I mean, it depends on what you're going to use it for, but yeah, it's a good buy. So I do this. I did run the lighter over that to get rid of all those little frayed spots, but I think it turned out so pretty. Okay, here's our next one. I got this at that same garage sale. She had 3 of these galvanized envelopes, and I paid $2 for all of them. And I cleaned this up really good with some rubbing alcohol, and now I'm going to use my Dixie Belle Barn Red paint. This is the first time me using the Dixie Belle. No, this is my first time using this. I started to say flavor. Oh my goodness. This color, this Barn Red, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's a nice deep dark farmhouse Christmas red. Now I'm taking this DIY dark wax that I love so much, and I'm just putting it around the edges because I just want it to look a little worn, like it's an old envelope, an old metal envelope. Then I decided to go crazy and do it on the back side just to give it, you know, like it has a little bit darker on that back part. And then I just put some all over it, and then I got a little too much, so I used the white wax, the clear wax. The clear wax will kind of erase it if it's still wet. So I did let it dry completely and then go over the whole thing with the clear wax. In the end, I did do a little bit of dark wax on the back. And I cut this little stencil out with my Cricut. I got this in Design Space as well. Now, this didn't work out as good as I had hoped it would. I don't know if it was because I had waxed it first. Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs does lots of wood rounds. She does an amazing job. She is my inspiration. She's my hero. I've probably been crafting longer than she's been alive, but she, oh man, she is so talented. Anyway, she does stencils on after she has waxed and sealed and stuff like that. So I don't know. Anyway, it turns out okay in the end, but it was a little bit extra work. Let's put a little Mod Podge on here to seal it so it doesn't bleed. It's a great idea. If it just would have worked. No, it actually worked. It just didn't work as good as I had hoped it worked, but you'll see. Now I'm using some chalk and mineral paint that I got off the Brilliant Vinyl, I think that's what it's called, website, and it's called Starcraft paint, and I like it real well. I didn't know if I would like it or not, but I do like it. They had it on sale, and I was like, why not try, add it to my order, get free shipping, right? So I go back in, and I'm touching up with the 2 colors of paint, and I think it looks really good. I did lightly go over it with the dark wax. Alright, here's that last thrift flip. If you're still hanging with me, I got this for, I think, 50 cents. Yeah, it was came from Dollar General. I got it for 50 cents, and I pulled off all this greenery, and I mean, they had it on there, stapled on there good. I had to work really hard, and you know I'm going to save that greenery because I'm going to use it for something else. Not today, but something else. So I get all that greenery and all those staples off there, and then I decide that I'm going to try and paint it with some white chalk paint. It has kind of a slick surface, so I decide I'm going to sand it a little bit first. So I took all the little stars and all the little buttons off of the Santas, and I'm going to save them, but because they're so tiny and I don't want to lose them, I put them on a piece of painter's tape. So now I take my sanding block, 220 grit, and I just want to get that slick surface. I know you've seen these little tabletop decor pieces and they're slick. And so I just sanded as much off of that as I could get and dusted off the sand and used my little ladybug vacuum cleaner that I love so much. And then I just took my little scrap cloth and dusted it. It was going to take so many coats of this paint and it was just sliding all over the place. So I took it outside and spray painted it. And I kind of liked that I could still see a little bit of that design through there because it gave me a little bit of, you know, a guide as to where to paint. So the ones that were red, I'm going to paint pink, and the ones that were blue, I'm going to paint a lighter blue. Now, I Googled trending Christmas colors for 2022. And one of the big trending colors was kind of the retro pastel colors. So I decided I was going to try to do this, and I wasn't, at this point, I was not liking this. I was thinking it looked like it belonged in a baby nursery. Nobody really does pink and blue colors like this anymore, but yeah, I'm trying to put the snow back on where the snow was, and I paint their little faces with this bright coral, and I paint the noses with some pink and red that I mixed together. And then I put little black dots for their eyes, and the more I work on it, the worse I like it. Like, the more I dislike it. I can't even talk about it correctly because I was not liking it. So I just kept on. I was like, well, I'll just give it to one of the grandkids and maybe they'll like it. And then I thought I'll just smudge some little paint on here. I should have, if I would have had an ink pad, you know, I could have done it with some ink. That probably would have worked good, but I didn't have any. All I had was black and brown. I was like, oh dear. Well, then I ended up taking some more of that coral once it dried and dry brushed some of that coral back over their little cheeks. And that helped. And then I took that pink color, and for some reason I didn't record any of that. I don't know if I forgot to hit record or I just decided I wasn't even going to put this in the video or what. But you can see I made little polka dots on the hat with the end of a dowel rod, and I made some stripes, and I made some plaid, and I'm just making some swirlies, and I'm going to make some little hearts and going to make, I don't remember, some other little skinny lines. I'm trying to decide what to do. So hearts are really easy if you just make 2 little dots and then pull the paint from those 2 little dots down to make like a little triangle. You can make cute small little hearts. And then I put some little polka dots with the end of my paintbrush. I just stick it in there and I make some tiny little dots all around those hearts. And then I just make some skinny little lines on his hat, and I put some little polka dots in between. I didn't get that. So then I take my white little paintbrush and I'm touching up what I forgot. There's some snow I forgot on there, and then there's some places where my paintbrush got a little happy and I made some boo-boos, so I go back in, I'm touching it all up. I'm thinking, nah, it's not looking so bad. But I actually used the dark wax, and I didn't record that, and I added those little silver balls and the greenery back on there. I didn't have footage of that. I'm not sure what happened to it. Remember, friends, to be still and know that He is God.